Jesus. Thank you for this opportunity. Gather again. God bless you, everybody. Come on in, join us.
Hello, hello.
Hit that share button. Let us know how the sound quality is if you can hear us. Give us a second for the wife to share it. Get a few people up in here. We just want to discuss the usual. Y'all already know where we're going with this. What up, Smitty? My brother from another mother. Longtime friend of mine, man. Appreciate this guy. This is for real. This is his topic, man. This is his topic, yo. That dude has been married for 15 years. I'm tell you, I don't know many young black men that could say the same. So I celebrate you, bro, for upholding them vows through thick and thin, for better or for worse. Like you a real one, brother.
Yeah.
You and your wife, yo. Y'all are definitely encouraging to me, encouraging to my community, encouraging to see like that it can be done
Yeah.
against all odds, no matter your background, where you came from. Determination get us through this thing. So we got a few videos we want to share to go with a lot of the topics that we've been talking about, um, to help kind of bring some context to some things. We would love to discuss with y'all. We would love to hear your thoughts and your ideas, because I think it's easy to see Facebook posts and just disagree and not really understand. What's up, Felicia? She said, "Hey, beautiful couple." I
Hey,
appreciate that,
Felicia.
sis.
Thank you.
Making me blush. Hold on. Let me get it
Thanks,
together.
sis.
um, but yeah, man, we want to bring some context to a few things because
Mhm.
it's a reason. It's always a reason or a method to the madness.
Right.
Um, what was the first thing we was gonna show? Okay. One thing I want to address. Um, as a conservative, I've been blessed to meet a lot of great people across the country. Growing up a black man in America, most of my family voted Democratic. I, for the most part, didn't have many friends outside of the black community as an adolescent. Um, and it's really been a blessing to step out of those boundaries and those walls and meet people from different backgrounds and see like that despite of our differences in upbringing, like people are people and we love each other if we determine to make that the principal value that unite us. So I understand that a lot of people that met me during those times, they may not really understand some of the things we talk about today and why it seems like we're singling out the black community. So we also want to brush on that as well. Statistically speaking, if I'm not mistaken, I should have had that prepared. I think last time I checked, the marriage rate in the white community is 68% versus the marriage rate in the black community is 26%. So, although everything that we speak on can be relatable to everybody, and ultimately marriage is important across races, there's really no distinguishing factor that differentiates that. Um, there's a major lack in the black community for a multitude of reasons that I think we all would agree our society as a whole would benefit from seeing that change.
Right.
So that's why a lot of things are geared towards the black community. Because as conservatives, we believe that ultimately the change is up to us. And we don't beg the government or plead for anybody to make a difference in our lives except ourselves. So ultimately, if there's a people group that seems to be lagging behind, I find it righteous, um, as a follower of Jesus, to spend a little bit of extra time to help that community see some things that maybe they aren't seeing, that maybe years of father absence is repeatedly wrongly teaching.
Right.
Just to open our eyes. Everybody may or may not agree. Everybody may not even take from it and go the same direction. But for some people, it may be their first time even hearing these ideas. And the seed planet is important to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, as my friends, you know what I'm saying? If you don't understand that, hopefully after today you will. But I pray that you will see it as important to you as well. And if not, maybe this broadcast ain't for you. And I respect that as well.
Right. We're called to bring solutions and not just dwell on what our issues are, but let's give solutions to those issues.
Amen. So, without further ado, let's get into this first clip. I always struggle with this lady's name. Man, I hope that she says it in the clip, but she probably won't because I'm gonna cut ahead to a certain portion of it. But if anybody is familiar with her and knows her name, please share it with me. Excuse my ignorance. She speaks very eloquently on the problems pertaining to the black family, historically, and how a lot of these problems occurred. Again, this may be relatable to other races, and if so, please apply it. Um, but we specifically are speaking to a danger zone
Right.
with blacks because 1 in 4 black women will be married. That saddens me to hear that. Not because I think that we're better than anybody because we're married, but because I realize how much we aren't better than anybody. I feel like if we could do it, anybody
Anybody
can.
can do it.
And I think so many people are missing it because they have the wrong ideas of marriage and the wrong mindsets that are making them make decisions that are kind of contrary to what it takes to find themselves in a happily married situation.
Mm-hmm.
And so hopefully we can talk about this, and if y'all see something wrong, or if y'all see something better that can be added, drop it in the comments. We open to hear it. Um, but let's get right into this. I'm gonna skip ahead to the 3-minute mark, and here she is. How do you feel about the fact that many people accuse you of wanting to see the black woman at a point of submission? Is that where you want to see a black woman in the 1990s? Well, it depends on how you define submission. Those words have a tendency to have a negative connotation for us because of how they were used against us during slavery and what we connect them to. But actually, the kind of submission that I'm referring to just means cooperation and agreement. I don't think that anybody could say that I represent a woman who is subjugated in any kind of way. I don't think that anybody could say that my personality sounds like some man has me somewhere crawling around on the ground or walking 10 paces behind him. So I'm not representing that. I'm representing strength. I'm saying that we have a lot of power. We have power to make heaven and hell for our men. And I'm saying, let's try making heaven. Let's try to build him up. If a man has his woman behind him, he will believe he can do anything. And all we need to do is to get our men to believe that they can do anything. And he'll be able to, do much better than he's doing now and come out of the pitiful condition he's in. As I said, I'm not exonerating him. I'm just saying that all of that strength that we have, let's use it in a more positive way instead of just going for self. Nobody told us that all of that being my own person and I'm independent would lead to separation and loneliness. But that's what we had to trade for that. In order to have certain kinds of success, we had to give up the man because we can't find a man who will compete with us on that level. As I said, we say he can't handle us or he's intimidated by the fact I make more money than him. I think that by judging our men on how much money he makes, we have lost a lot of good men. Because as black women, if we decide that all of us are going to just determine whether or not we're going to have a man based on how much money he makes, then won't none of us have no man. Because most black men don't have no money. There are many men. Not a lot of money. Before they go into the next point, she touched on so many things.
Right.
I love her way of explaining submission. That is such a trigger word. Like, submission is vulgar. Brother that I consider to be my pastor, even though I don't attend his congregation. said that. He said that submission is vulgar,
Vulgar.
and it was wild to hear that because that's the reaction I get. Like
Mhm.
I can say I can cuss
Submission.
and not get the reaction I'm gonna get from saying submission, especially as a man. It's like the nerve of you.
Yeah, when a lot of women hear submission, they hear oppression, slavery, and that's not what it is at all. Slavery was forced.
Right.
So,
And this is clearly, I mean, I don't think anybody would disagree that this is a strong woman that is speaking here. She is a doctor, I mean, very educated.
mhm,
And she said herself, like, by no means do I look like the type of woman that's following behind a man with a collar on my neck. And
right,
I think feminism has put that twist on it to make it an
mm,
undesirable situation.
yeah,
But the beauty in what she said is we have the power to create hell
or
or
heaven.
heaven for our man. This is what men look for in their woman. When, like, if we're gonna add a female to our life, are you gonna be our peace? Are you gonna create serenity for us? Are you gonna turn our house into a home?
Are we gonna have to compete?
The average man, that's what we think of when we think submission. Nobody is looking for a slave. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's silly to even have to explain that over and over. And I honestly start to believe that some people, no matter how many times you're going to explain it, they're going to continue with that narrative
Mm,
because it makes them feel justified opposing
right.
the traditional ideas of marriage. And it has nothing to do with anything they really aren't
Yeah, and
understanding.
if you talk to any housewife or any submissive woman, they don't feel like a slave. The way that they would describe that to you would not even give you that. So why are we listening to people who aren't being submissive?
Right.
Let's listen to the people who are in those situations and hear from their experiences.
That's true. Because most of the people that have all the ideas of what it is negatively have
Yeah,
never tried it.
never tried it.
Ain't a submissive bone in their body, and they are the ones preaching and teaching against it, and they've never even given it a
And when
chance.
we say try it, we mean being consistent and consistently being that person.
Right.
You can say that you were submissive one day, but it didn't change him in one day. So the next day, F it. That's not being submissive. That
Right.
was you just trying something out or, testing the waters.
Well, that's the common thing. It's like ain't no men worthy of submission. I hate
Hmm.
this doctrine in the church because there
Right,
ain't gonna be no marriages if we keep that up.
right.
And especially in the black church. It's ridiculous. And we have to look at the fruit and the results of the people that's putting that out there.
Hmm.
Are they happily married? And this is another thing, like I've seen today on a comment about I'm not even gonna be politically correct anymore.
Hmm.
I said that yesterday on my
Right.
show. It's no foreign idea that men don't like women that have a whole lot of mouth and argumentative and want to contest and oppose them about everything.
Yeah.
So the post was a joke in regards to that idea. And someone pretty much posts, I know plenty of happily married women who are just like that. And I'm like, I bet you do in today's society.
Hmm.
But is their husband happily married? Crickets. But that's not even important
That's not
anymore today.
important.
It's completely irrelevant. And feminism has become,
Me, 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 me.
it's not about equality, it's about dominating men.
Hmm.
And so we're gonna even get into that later. But I love what this woman said about the ability to create heaven or hell.
Hmm.
I don't believe that it's logical to assume that a woman creating heaven for a man in his home is going to have a man that mistreats her.
Right.
I mean, it's a simple equation that doesn't make sense.
It
And
doesn't.
oftentimes I get into these conversations and I'm always hearing everything that went wrong in my marriage. And I was doing this and I was doing that. And he still did this. And the more you talk to them, the more things start to not add up, and you start to hear little details. And well, he ain't do this, so I ain't feel like I need to do this. And it's
Yeah.
always conditions, and it's like if we're gonna do, especially my Bible believers, what the Bible is saying, it ain't conditioned on how you feel today.
Right.
The man does not get to love his wife like Christ loved the church
If
sometimes
right.
if she a good wife. Loving like Christ loved the church means that even when she ain't worthy, even though she ain't worthy. Let's go there if we're gonna talk about Christ, because none of us are worthy of him and his sacrifice. He did
Preaching.
nothing.
Mhm.
He died a perfect life just for our behalf.
Right.
So if we're gonna really love like Christ loved the church, that means that there is no matter of rather or not she's worthy. Once you say I do, that love has to consistently be there.
Mhm.
And if it isn't, then you're falling short at that moment. You need to correct that as a man. We don't get an excuse for that.
Right. No.
Nobody's understanding of a man mistreating his wife
Ever.
ever. It
Ever.
doesn't matter who she is.
Mm-mm.
And so I'm tired
They
of,
always have that, have to take that accountability.
yes. So I'm tired of these excuses on the other end. And you know, I
And,
appreciate this.
and before you move on, along with speaking on the church, a lot of these issues derive from, teaching the wrong things, because they hear the scripture and they see above the scripture where it says, submit to each other, and they believe that that's what the Bible was speaking about for marriage. But that wasn't talking about marriage. That was talking about, as Christians, as brothers and sisters in Christ, we are to submit to one another.
Right.
But it goes on to marriage, and talks about what a woman should be and what a husband should be. And I think a lot of it is just wrong theology, wrong teachings.
I think it's convenient theology because
It's
I
convenient.
I don't
Yes,
believe you
definitely.
read that chapter and missed the center idea unless you didn't want to receive it.
Right. That's true,
Because
because it
the beginning of the
expounds on it.
chapter is clearly giving direction for the church
Mhm.
in regards to our fellowship with one another.
Right.
And then it specifically says, in regards to marriage,
Right.
wives, submit to your husbands as unto the Lord.
As unto the Lord.
Husbands, love your wife as Christ loves the
Loves.
church. Husbands are the head of the household.
Hmm.
I mean, it can't be any more
Right.
clear
It
if you're reading it in
explains
the
it.
context that it is plainly in. It's not even like one of those things that has to be deciphered,
Right.
and we can go all day on that topic,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to point out those couple things because this is a woman who is not even of the Christian faith and she gets it better than the church does.
Yes.
There are many men out there who don't want a woman. That's absolutely true. Who is not gainfully employed. That's just true. Works both ways. And one of the things that I have always explained about that, Raven, is that for my lectures, which I do all over the country, so I can give Black people some ease and take some of the hysteria out of our communities that the book seems to have caused. I have security guards, not because of Black women. We're going to do just what we do. We're going to fuss and we're going to cuss and do a little something. But I have it because of Black men. Because the Black man's guide to understand the Black woman puts the Black man on point. And it reminds him what he has allowed to happen to his woman and his family. Many Black men become intimidated. They don't want to take responsibility for their women. They don't want the challenge. They don't want to be put on point. So they become overwhelmed. And it's them that go off. That's why I have security. Because most men know that this book puts the Black man on point. It just talks about what slavery has done to the Black woman, but it's really telling him what he has allowed to happen.
Now let's go there.
Whew.
Ladies, I've been hearing you. I've been hearing you. I've been hearing you over and over. I'm hearing. But what about the men? All I hear you talk about is the women. Uh King Smitty saying he can't hear you that good. You're gonna have to
Oh,
speak
okay.
up when you start talking next time.
Okay.
Um, what about the women? All I hear you talk about is, so I'm gonna address this now. Because if you listen to what was just said, the beauty in it is that she pointed out something that we've been discussing a lot lately. You have to factor in the fact that there is a large portion of men out here that point blank period are not trying to take care of no woman. I hear the rhetoric that says, oh, she a grown adult. She's not my daughter. I ain't about to take care of her. Blase blah. She need to have a job around here. That saddens me to hear this. It's one thing if your career is important to you and he says, I'm going to support you.
Right.
And it's another thing as a wife to have to hear your husband say, I won't take care of you. That's not my responsibility. I can't fathom how that makes sense in his mind
Mm-mm.
and how that must feel as a woman. You know what I mean? And so I can understand in the context of those type of relationships, the troubles that women will have with these concepts,
Right.
because you can't have both. If you, I mean, because that's not loving like Christ loves the church, in my opinion. So if you are
Christ provides all of our needs.
displaying to a woman that she is your equal, in the sense that she must bring to the table to support you the same way you must bring to the table to support her, it's only logical to expect that there's going to be conflict
Mm-hmm.
with submission. That's logical.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that that absorbs the responsibility, but I'm just saying I can understand if I don't feel provided for and protected.
It will make things more difficult.
If I'm, you know what I mean? If I'm coming into a situation to do the same thing that I can do for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a phenomenon that I had to unravel and address and realize that is an issue bigger than what I recognize. And this is where we're going to step even outside of the Black community, because this is an America thing. I don't know if this is a world thing. Um,
Oh,
Go
well,
ahead.
what's his name? Peterson, the philosopher we're going to listen to,
Psychologist.
psychologist. He says that it's a Western thing. It's a Western culture thing.
Mm.
This mindset, the feminism, and you know,
And
just the
and
independence of women has created this.
so it's not just feminism is not even just a female concept no more. There's feminism in men now.
Yep.
There's feminist men, and if I gotta throw out an assumption, I genuinely believe it's a pandering tactic
Mm-hmm.
to get women, because your own masculine energy is not enough to appease a female. So you must pander to them. And you see it all the time, Smitty. I know you see it. Uh I appreciate that, Gabriella.
She funny.
um if I really believe, King Smitty, I know you see this, bro, because we've discussed this before. The brothers that you'll see on the Instagram models pages or on different females pages, and they like, oh man, your man must be so lucky. Or if a woman posts something negative, he a fool for doing this, man. I would give you anything you want. And you don't know nothing about this female. You don't know what she's offering you. And you know, you ready to eat a booty and all kind of weird stuff. Like dudes be just posting these crazy comments.
They just
And
attention seeking.
and I think this is the same concept that we see when we hear men appeasing feminism. I think it's one of those.
Derek Jackson.
It's one of those ways. I mean, we just seen with Derek Jackson that's what we've been saying for a decade, and it turns out it was merely just a way to get women.
Yep.
And that's the danger. It's like when you get a brother like me that's now like speaking against that, we're saying like, yo, that ain't real. They get mad at me because there's so many dudes out here that's saying this stuff, but them dudes aren't gonna give you no ring. They're not gonna marry you. And if they do, you usually ain't going to be satisfied, because we already talked about statistics. 70% of women are the ones filing for divorce.
Yep.
And once you add a college degree to the equation, that number goes up to 90%. So women ain't satisfied in marriage today. Women ain't satisfied in marriage. So the pandering has to stop.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say? Cats would say anything to try and get some cat. Facts.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is, I see with women, they're trying to change the nature of men to fit into what they think men should think, or think men should be attracted to, and that's just not sensible. You can't control the nature of a man to fit your mold, and then even if you do, you later on in life, you deep down not going to be satisfied with that.
Right.
You're gonna want that masculine energy. You're gonna want that protector and provider. You know, especially as you get older and you realize I need these things, and you're gonna be dissatisfied with that feminine man.
That's a good way to put it. So with that said, we're gonna get into this next video. Um, this is an interesting one, and it goes right into the conversation we having today. And like I said, today I got to put some pressure on my men. Because like I said, I will admit when I'm wrong. To a degree, I did not understand this phenomenon. I really did not know that this was as big of an issue as it is. So I would love to talk about this if I can get some thoughts on this when it's done.
So today we have a few cancellations to dole out, and it all begins with this question sent into Slate's advice column. Now, anybody who uses the pseudonym Suddenly the Breadwinner thought that Slate would be the best place to go with his issue, and here's what he wrote. It's a little bit long, but let's read the whole thing. Bear with me. He says, I am a new father to a beautiful
Let me pause it right here because I tend to lose my thoughts. What was the part that you just said that stood out to you?
Give up. He said to give up like that because she wanted to be at home with her newborn baby that she has fallen in love with. That's giving up? Or is that change in direction or important or what's important to her? Or go ahead.
No, I mean you own it because I had been addressing the issue that women overwhelmingly seem to want their career over the value of raising a child. And now I'm realizing even the men are leading them in that. So this is a societal issue because I can't imagine what this must feel like for this woman to have this natural bond with this child that she just pushed out. And she like, I don't want to leave you, baby.
Right.
And has a whole husband who admits that he makes enough. But he's like gaslighting her, asking her if this is a mental illness. Like, so
it's heartbreaking. Like, how do you deal with that? Because you got to go against what your heart is telling you, your nature, your everything in you. Because when you, especially with your first baby, you don't want to leave that baby with nobody else. And your husband, the person you made this baby with, wants you out the house and wants that baby with a stranger. It makes you start to rethink, what kind of man are you? You don't love our child the way that I love our child?
Well, the hurtful part to me even is that he went as far as saying that it was her ambition and drive that attracted him. So honestly, what that makes me believe is you were attracted to the idea of a woman being able to add money to your situation. And I can't understand that for the life of me, why a man would want a woman to make money from.
Right. A pimp.
Especially when you make enough to take care of yourself, as you said, why am I looking at my wife as a dollar sign when usually a man wants to add a wife into the equation to build a family?
Right.
So that's just mind-boggling to me. And I mean, this is appalling. Hearing the way he's talking about her is what's appalling.
Right.
Postpartum depression, but she didn't take that well. She says she only cares about our daughter, and that's where all her energy needs to go right now, and that if I love her, I will let her do this. I do love my wife, and I'm not interested in divorce, but I'm seeing a whole side of her that I just don't like or admire. What should I do? Okay, well, I mean, as long as he gently asked whether his wife wants to stay home and raise their daughter due to a mental illness. Hey, honey, listen, I know you said you love being a mother. You want to be home with our child full time. I'm just wondering, are you having a psychotic break? Is that what this is? I'm only asking. What? I'm just asking. I can't believe that didn't go over well. Now, I admit that I might be judging this man extra harshly because I am also the breadwinner in my family, and we have 4 little mouths to feed instead of 1. And I personally really like supporting my family. I feel honored to do it, fulfilled by it. And I love that my kids have their mom home with them. The idea.
Now, real quick, I want to speak on that because I know there may be ladies looking and saying, please, or you're the minority. I don't believe that. I believe that the men that wrote this letter are the minority, and they should honestly be overlooked for marriage, in my opinion. I'm not saying that if a man is willing to accept your career and support you, he should be overlooked. But I think any man that says at no cost would I ever take care of you, a grown woman, as my wife, especially while you're raising my kid, I don't think that's a man that's suited for marriage, in my opinion. Because that says a lot to me. You know, when you're making a lifelong commitment, ceremonially, your father gives you away to this man. What does that mean? We can't just ignore that responsibility of marriage and just make our spouse into someone just for our benefit. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is a role that you are supposed to play in her life too, and provide a certain level of security to where she should not have this kind of stress as a new mother, especially. So I'm really having a hard time with that.
It's one thing if you decide to have a career and be a mother. You put your mind to that, but you're saying I want to put all my energy into being a mother. These are 2 different jobs. Being a mom is a full-time job. And he's saying, I expect you to be a full-time mom and a full-time whatever kind of business that she's doing. And I just feel like that's selfish and that's weak for a man, personally. If you feel that you need me to provide for you.
Yeah. It's not logical. And I
just held this baby in my body for 9 months and went through all of these changes just so I can be pushed back out to do the same thing you do. Where am I even benefiting from having you in my life at that point? I might as well be a single mother.
And that's why I was making clear, I don't think that's the norm. As this brother said, most men who are mindsets are ready for marriage, are looking for marriage, they're not going to think like that. You know what I mean? So that's something to think about if you're dating and you're not making clear that I'm looking for marriage. And then you fall into a situation with a man who mindset ain't there. You might get that. But we're gonna show something else later, and that's gonna clarify further that this is not the sole problem. So I don't want to take this and just run away with this as our cop out. But I do also want to address this matter because it is a major one. And as men, like we can't have a cake and eat it too. We got to make our mind up what we want.
Right.
Being disappointed about being the breadwinner as a man is completely foreign to me. The idea of respecting and admiring your wife less because she loves being a mom too much is also utterly foreign to me. But we'll respond more to these ideas in a second. First, let's loop in our dear friend Jill Filopovic. She's a feminist writer who always has exactly the sort of take you would expect on these kinds of issues. In a series of tweets, she responded, empathizing with the man, and empathizing with men is usually not one of her strong suits. And she said, in part, quote, I realize this is like the third rail of the mommy wars, but yeah, lots of super ambitious people marry other super ambitious people because they're attracted to ambition. I would have a really, really hard time being married to a spouse who chose not to work. And now I'm really going to get myself yelled at, but I also think the issue of example setting for a kid is totally fair. What example are you setting when dad works for pay and mom does the care work at home? Lots of reasons not to want to see it, to set that kind of example for a child. At-home work is incredibly isolating. It also occupies a pretty unique space where it's centered on one of the most fundamental familial relationships, parent/child. No other job is like that, which is where the claim that staying at home is a job doesn't quite tell the whole story. Okay, now,
before he gets into his synopsis, if you missed it, that was a feminist female writer who was responding to the letter from the gentleman that was read before. This is where I have a problem. Too often women shaming the stay-at-home moms. It's a virtue signaling that I have a problem with, because she says so many troubling things. For one, she equates the fact that she says, who would want a spouse that stays at home and doesn't work? Sweetheart, of course you wouldn't want that. You're a woman.
You're a woman.
You're not supposed to want that. Women look for provider protector out of their men. So to even try to equate the two is already coming from a feminist mindset of trying to make male and female thoughts, wants, and needs the same. Mm-hmm. But all the other rhetoric that was just so negative towards this woman, like robbing her of these natural feelings, is like the problem that I have with women who talk about equality. And this equality is never afforded to the stay-at-home mom.
No.
They're treated like the bottom of the barrel. They're shamed. And then you say to try to act like it's a job. What do you mean? But the main reason that the rhetoric of why y'all don't want to do it is because it's such a job.
Because it's so much work.
And so I don't know. I'm just tired of these narratives. I just wish I would see women support each other more, especially in their natural roles in society.
Right.
And, you know, if you have dreams, aspirations, and goals, some people's dream, aspiration, and goals is their family. Mm-hmm. Some people value what they have at home and the relationships that they have with their kids and the ability to be there to build them. Mm-hmm. Did you have anything to add to that part?
I just wanted to bring up an example of the little sneak disses that many housewives get. I remember even in the church, I remember having conversations with certain people, and they will look at me and they're trying to understand us. They're getting to know us. And they're like, so what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a mother and a wife. That's what I do. And they're like, oh, don't your kids need to be in daycare? What? Yeah, they need to be in daycare so they can, socialize with other kids. I have plenty of kids. They can socialize,
they socialize
with each other
all day long.
And they try to deter me from my passion for the fact that I enjoy that I don't have the struggles of the outside life, and I can focus on my children. I can build them. I can teach them about God. I don't have to worry about redirecting them from the things that the world is teaching them. There's a lot that you can gain from being at home, and a lot of people sleep on that, and then they're wondering why their kids, I didn't raise you that way. Well, you didn't raise me. You were gone.
Right.
The school and the daycares, and I understand that there are situations where you have to. There's situations where, if you're a single mom, or if you just in a situation where the money ain't quite right. But why is it that women who decide and do have a man who's willing to provide, why are we looked at as if we're not giving anything back to the world or to the community? Right. Because in my eyes, raising up these people who will be our future, teaching them the ways of God, giving them values is my way of distributing to the world. Because when I'm gone, they're here. You know what I'm saying? But
And you said something that's gonna come back full circle later. But the irony in that is we were one of 4, maybe 5 married couples in the entire church out of a 200 member church.
right.
So, you know what I mean? The fruit of the mindsets often speak for themselves. And that's why we're addressing this, because we're realizing that a lot of people just don't understand. Like my brother Smitty said in the comments, he asked, are people being taught the role of marriage these days? Because I mainly see LGBTQ agenda pushed more so than the nuclear family. Bro, I'm going to say no.
Nope.
I don't remember a day in school where we talked about marriage. But we have sex ed. They teach us how to put on a condom and avoid STDs, but they don't say nothing to us about marriage.
Wow.
That's what I remember.
I never thought about that.
Shaylette says, which comes first, career, wife, marriage, or children? Put them in order. Someone in the comments too. I need to see something. Talk about it, sis. And you segueing for us. That's what we're gonna get into later. And I think we need to go back to nature, the science of who we are as creatures, man, and like get this hand of society's direction out of our heads. Because I don't think it's allowing us to see clearly. Like the things that we debate about is so wild. For instance, like I had a family member, a child family member, confused one day when my wife, she pumped and had some breast milk that she was leaving for another family member to babysit. And the youth family member was confused as to why we were warming it up. And we explained to her because breast milk is warm. Never came across her mind because she's in a home that doesn't breastfeed.
Right.
Everything is bottle. And that's another thing. That's a whole nother topic. Women shaming each other for breastfeeding. I've witnessed this, and it's just mind blowing. Like, how far in the matrix can we be to shame the natural form of food that is created specifically for this child? I mean, that was my eye opener. Like, you would rather feed your child a concoction, a chemical concoction
made in the lab,
than what is naturally forming from your body. And I just didn't realize how bad, how far gone we've got on some of these ideas. So I'm learning right now.
There's a lot to be said on this topic. We don't have time to say most of it. Instead, I just want to focus on 2 things. Maybe not even the 2 most important things, but these 2 things. First, the idea that you have to choose between being ambitious or raising your children full time is asinine. Ambition, in the positive sense of the word, is simply a strong desire to achieve some kind of worthwhile goal, coupled with the determination to see it through. That's what we mean when we speak positively about an ambitious person. Raising children and tending to your family and your home requires a lot of ambition. Or to put it another way, there's a big difference between children who are raised ambitiously and children who are not. So to have ambition as a parent is to be active, to be present, not complacent. Here's a very simple example of ambitious parenting. And this, again, is by far not the most profound example, but as I said, a simple, everyday example. An ambitious parent turns the TV off, says to the kids, hey, let's go outside and play a game. Let's have a scavenger hunt. Let's do some activity that I have planned. Some edifying and educational and fun activity that I have planned that we're going to go do, rather than just having you sit here and watch TV all day. Now, this is not necessarily the parent's idea of a good time, but it's good for the kids in the long run. And you're putting the work and effort in pursuit of that long-term benefit.
So y'all get the idea. And I like that. He was breaking down that just because you're a stay-at-home mom does not remove ambition.
It doesn't.
You know, I mean, to me, I don't know. It's all in preference.
I mean, I can attest to that. Like, even especially now that I'm homeschooling, it's become a job.
Yes.
It's become something that I have to remain consistent about. It's become something that I have to plan. I have to use skills that someone in the workplace will have to use when with these sort of tasks. So it's not like we're just here not being active or not using our brains.
Right.
We're still putting forth, our abilities and the things that we have, and that, and the things that we can teach our kids. So it's not that we don't have ambition, it's that we're putting it towards what's important to us, or we're putting all that drive into our children. I know I didn't have that. I lived in a single mother home, and my mom had to work. I never had her home. She barely helped me with homework. I had to figure out things on my own, and honestly, it led me to a early adult life where I had made a lot of mistakes. If I had my mom at home, maybe that wouldn't have happened, because I'm constantly talking to my kids. I'm constantly, when I'm thinking about things that's going on in schools and that these kids are talking about, I'm talking to them about it before their friends talk to them about it. It's really good for the family to put everything that you have into, the people you're bringing up.
We got some great comments. Okay. So Anastasia, appreciate you joining us, sis. She said she got to come back and watch this. I guess she missed the beginning. No problem. Gabriella said her order is children, wife, marriage, career. I ain't got no problem with that. But me specifically, following biblical values, my order would be my wife, children, marriage, and then career. But for a wife, I mean, obviously it would be husband substituted. But that's a sticky one, because a lot of people don't agree that spouse should come before children. Maybe we could touch on that another day, because I don't think that's such a big deal.
Yeah, because at the end result,
yeah, we all love them kids, and at the end of the day, mama ain't gonna let nothing happen to them kids, and she gonna want me to save them before her, even if I ain't want to. Shaylette, you a real soldier for that. She said, Anastasia, I can give you a summary. Anastasia says, I want to be a stay-home mom now. It's so rare and it's going to be tough, but I don't want anyone else raising my kids. I had to pin that comment because I always want to celebrate when I hear people ready to take that leap of faith, because it is one.
It is.
Especially as a successful career woman as you are, you giving up a lot to do that. And to me, that means that you value your family, because it's not easy.
That's a good one.
If my husband and I are not good, we can't focus on the kids. And that's all it's always been about.
Yeah, that's why husband and wife comes first.
Yes.
In order to build healthy children.
Yep. She says, my children in marriage comes before my job. Amen. Gabriella says, nah, I got one and I feel like I will lose my mind. Girl, you are working. Facts. Listen, it ain't never a dull moment around here. And and my 3-year-old son be the first one up, walking around, knocking on doors, waking up babies.
Good morning, mommy.
Man.
Give me some cereal.
But I mean, shoot, y'all already kind of on the same page. I feel like this next video gonna be kind of redundant, but there's always the silent viewers. Man, I'm just I'm a bit surprised. I guess things are better than I imagined. And we can sometimes get caught up. Yeah, we got wise friends. I like that. Yeah. Sometimes we can get caught up on the negative.
Yeah, because they're so loud.
I had to block some people. Some people are gone, so that helps. But I don't know if y'all have heard of Jordan Peterson. If not, you're gonna follow him after. Actually, this is a very short clip. Maybe not from this one, but you should. Yes. He is one of the greatest psychologists out here, blowing up YouTube. I mean, he's speaking everywhere, and he just breaks down life in such a simplistic nature. Shout out to my boy King Smitty for putting me on to him, because I've been binge watching this man's content.
Yes, it really feeds my brain.
Yes. And so this is a short 3-minute clip of him talking about exactly what we're talking about right now in the comments. So this is going to be good because y'all are already prepared for this. And I think Anastasia's comment brings this to life because if I'm not mistaken, I want to say you're around 30. And this is phenomenally biologically when this clicks for women that I'm learning is who a woman is at 19, 21 drastically changes at 30 in regards to your pursuits and what you define as happiness.
Yeah.
And so me learning that is like really like it's been kind of awesome on a geeky type level. So
what's the relative importance of career and motherhood in a typical woman's life? I'm 55, and I've been working with men and women my entire life, and I've watched this, and it's quite obvious. It's like at 19, it's all career. By 30, that's just not the case. It's not the case. I don't know if I've seen a single woman who I didn't think had a psychological problem, who hadn't seriously flipped in their attitude towards the balance of family and career by the time they were 30. And then you see lots of women who at 40 haven't had kids and perhaps wanted to, and that's not a pleasant situation. I was talking to a woman who is about 39, a professional woman, attractive, well put together, competent, well educated, successful in her profession, unmarried, in a relationship with an older guy, but unmarried, and desperate to have a child. She said no one ever talked to her about the fact that she'd actually want to have a family or encouraged her to think about doing that. It was as if it wasn't within the realm of possibility that one of the things that she might have the ambition to do would be to be a mother. And that's just not acceptable. And it was like she woke up in her late 30s and thought, well, the first thing she thought was, this profession of mine is actually nowhere near as comprehensively fulfilling as the advertisements claimed, which is something that virtually everyone discovers as they move forward in their professional career. I mean, the reason that you get paid generally for your work is because you're doing something that you wouldn't choose to do if you weren't being paid for it. And so the idea that your career is going to be the fundamental source of your fulfillment is true for a very tiny minority of people. And even with them, it's complicated. So she was tearful and upset about the fact that it took her so long to discover that there were other important dimensions to life, and that motherhood turns out to be, well, how many things do you do in your life that are fundamental, right? You have a career and your education, so that would be part of your career development. That's part of what makes you generally useful in society, and perhaps a place that you find some meaning and purpose. You have your friends, you have your family, like your parents and your siblings and so forth. You have your kids, you have your relationship. That's it. There's 4 things. Now, you can expand that to some degree. You can have, maybe you're creative and you make good use of your personal time. There's other factors that aren't trivial, but those 4 things are canonically important. You miss one of them and you're going to pay for it. And so our society needs to rethink our relative valuation of career versus motherhood. So we don't know how to solve this problem, but we could at least have an intelligent discussion about it. And we could start by admitting that the idea that most 19-year-old women are fed, which is that their career will be the primary purpose of their life, is actually a lie.
So somebody by now is like, who is this guy? Well, he has been a clinical psychologist for a long career. And he's speaking from the experience of the sessions that he's had with clients over the years who, like he said, very attractive, successful women. And that's another thing we have to be myth busters on. Just because you are attractive does not mean that guarantees you a man. I mean, and that's the hard part about this. Like, I'm not going to say it doesn't give you a better chance, But a lot of times when you wait later in life, your choices get more narrow, especially when you progress in your career. You naturally want a man on your level. And a lot of times women are killing men in the workforce. I mean, this ain't the shade, women. Y'all dogging it out here. So if your idea is that I want a man who's making more than me, especially if you're saying I only want a black man, the average black man making 40 grand a year. So it's like the longer you wait and the more your mindset is towards that and or not towards family, the harder it gets. And I'm going to show something else that's going to bring that into perspective. Yeah. But I mean, this is something that's common. And then they get into their 40s and their 50s and they like, damn.
I wish I would have known.
And it's tragic because at that point, the men at that place have reached their peak financially and they marry in the young 25-year-old fresh out of college who fit and got everything that they looking for. And she can give them 5 kids.
Right.
At 40, you might can give them 1 kid. You know, so that's the part that nobody is telling these young women when they going into college. Yeah. And they pushing all of this machine, being a part of the machine, and nobody's really telling them, but what are you going to value when you get to the middle age of your life? And man, Smitty said, Christ is the foundation, husband and wife are the pillars. We got to hit that children/husband and wife topic. What's up, sis? Let us know in the comments. What's your conflict or what question you have on that? Cause I don't mind going there.
Right.
Sorry for messing up your age, Anastasia. But you get in the 30s, so the mindset is there.
Thank you.
The
mind. You said 30.
Yeah.
You can't
get a woman's age wrong. But the mindset is definitely 30 because women mature more than men too, or faster than men.
Faster, yeah.
A lot of men ain't even ready for marriage before 30.
Yeah.
You know.
I think also just to throw that in there, ladies with daughters, I think this should be something you should talk to them about, even at a young age. We should be talking to them about marriage and if they want children and what their goals are, and let them know that it's okay to have goals of being married and having children, because the world is teaching the opposite.
Facts. And with that said, Gabrielle, I'm waiting on you to hear what you wanted to touch on in that. So in the meantime, I'm gonna go on to the next point. I don't know if you're still here or not, but the career woman thing, I hit that so heavy on my page, and a lot of people are just like I said, I had to block somebody, and I ain't even gonna give the devil no play, but a lot of people have tried to twist this into me hating women. I want to keep women down. And it's just like, I've yet to understand what I gained from that. I mean, I'm not competing with them in anything. They're not my potential mates. So I don't really get that, but I understand when somebody's talking about things that nobody else is saying, especially as a man in the feminist society, where men are usually afraid to say anything. But I'm willing to put my life on the line because I'm seeing a trend that's disturbing me. And I know a lot of women, once they cross that 30-40 threshold, they want to be married.
Yeah.
And it be women that's doing great in everything in life, 6-figure jobs, got it all together, and the only thing they don't got is a family. And
they're unhappy.
I don't know. And I really believe that the single mom culture, I mean, almost 80% of Blacks are raised in single mom homes. It's not helping us.
It's not.
And so we can shy away from the conversation or we can address it. But the majority of the problems in our community start in the household, and that our families are broken. And I'm not gonna do it today. But next time, matter of fact, we might pop out a YouTube channel for y'all. If y'all never seen Paternity Court, you're gonna see it with us, and we're gonna do some reactions because you get to see like the toxic nature of what's coming from these single parent households. And
the
it's like,
cycles.
it's so heartbreaking.
Yes.
If you don't know, especially people from white communities and the
Mhm.
people that maybe not have grown up in these type of environments,
Mhm.
they like, why are you singling out Black people? But you may not be seeing some of this stuff.
Right.
And it's tragic that only
detrimental.
1 in 4 Black women will get married. That's horrible. When from 1875 to 1960, 80% of us were married. During Jim Crow, during the time when we literally got killed just for being Black,
Right.
it was okay to hang us. And we value the home and the family that much that almost every Black adult was married. What's taking place now? That's changed that. Because it's so easy to say, well, the men ain't got it together. You know what I mean? And that's the common rhetoric. But I want y'all to get, we're going to go to public enemy number 1 for y'all to see why this is such an important conversation. Everybody hates this man because they hate accountability.
Yeah, that's why a lot of these women hate you, because you give it to them raw without the, pity patting on their feelings, and then you're the enemy at that point. You got something against women.
Right. And just listen to the conversation, the rhetoric, and the exchange that takes place here so you can hear where the issues is. The good old Godfather, Kevin Samuels.
24.
I should probably make my page.
It doesn't matter, man. I'm trying to, I'm not making this about you, but the fact of the matter is,
just in general,
you ladies wait too late and your price is too high. See, you've raised your value based upon things that men don't calculate.
don't care about.
We don't calculate in that. So you said you turned down 3 proposals. Okay. None of those men were suitable.
One was, I just wasn't ready at the time.
Okay.
Now, this is a woman who just said she has been proposed to by 3 men. Now we'll hear the common rhetoric in Black America. Black men don't take us serious. Ain't no Black men ready for marriage.
And they wifing all the white women.
Now check it out. I did statistics on that. I'm gonna pull it up later because I don't want to misquote, but it's not far from 10% of Black men that are marrying white women. Kill the noise. But in regards to this discussion, this woman has been proposed to 3 times. I don't know many women that can say the same. And now to be proposed to 3 times, that means that you have 3 gentlemen that you have entertained enough in a dating type of capacity, saw enough value in them to spend enough time with to get to the place where they would ask you for marriage. So they don't say they weren't good enough. They were good enough, obviously, or they wouldn't have been in a position to propose.
Right.
Or if that's the case, we need to make better choices and stop wasting our time with people.
Yeah.
One of them, she admits was good enough, but she wasn't ready.
Mm-hmm.
We're delaying marriage because we're in a society that does not value the family anymore. You think that's an extreme reach? You jump in it. Listen, continue to listen.
What I love about being a dasher is that I get to ride my bike everywhere. It's great exercise. I get
I was too young.
Translation, I figured I could do better later on.
Okay. My bad. So we were muted. I'll take that one. Were y'all at least able to hear the video? If you could let us know that in the comments. If not, we'll rewind it. Were y'all at least able to hear the video?
There we go. Yeah, it was.
Okay.
We
had it on mute. Were you at least able? They did not hear the video. We apologize. Thank you for those who hung with us.
Yeah.
Y'all some troopers, because I would have dipped out on the goofy tail. Okay, Mike Thomas, it sounded like he heard the video. Oh no, he's speaking of personal experience. Okay, we'll touch on that. You want to hit? Okay, we get the comments real quick. We get the comments real quick. Old people, my bad, bro. Yo, we'll take that L.
I ain't 30 yet. I ain't old.
Gabriella, she got a complex comment. We're gonna wait on that one. Deontay said that's why females hate you, and then they will assume that you're hurt by women. Well, you know, it's all good. Mike Thomas said, Mama been proposed to 3 or 4 times. One was my dad. My brother and I sat there and heard her say no, and she blamed it on his drinking, which was a legit reason. However, her real reason was she had taken interest in new young D-boy, who later became my stepdad. They were together for 9 years, but their marriage lasted 1 year. Meanwhile, my dad, a stand-up, clean-cut, good guy, was left there looking stupid. She told me it was her biggest regret after he died. Bro, that's the comment of the day. Yeah. I'm not going to pin it because that's super personal. Yeah. But I really thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Yeah. I really thank you for sharing that. Man. And that's, I mean, but you know what, bro? That's not uncommon in the Black community. That's not uncommon. Wow. All right. So that's, I mean, you just gave us the perfect segue back into this video. Yeah. So let's get it popping. And I appreciate y'all rocking with us still. Now listen to what this woman is saying out of her mouth. Seems like a pleasant young lady.
24.
I should probably make my page.
It doesn't matter, man. I'm trying not making this about you, but the fact of the matter is,
just in general,
you ladies wait too late and your price is too high. See, you've raised your value based upon things that men don't calculate.
Don't care about.
We don't calculate in that. So you said you turned down 3 proposals. Okay. None of those men were suitable.
Now peep that. We had gave this synopsis already, but we were muted. This goes exactly with what you just said, Mike. This woman was proposed to 3 times. Now, the common rhetoric is ain't no men out here taking us serious. Ain't no men ready for marriage. Black men just want to play. She proposed to 3 times. Listen to the responses.
One was, I just wasn't ready at the time.
Okay.
I was too young.
Translation, I figured I could do better later on.
No, he's still.
That's okay. No. If not, but that tends to be okay. So, because every man you turn down, you allow in your life.
Yeah.
So, do you make room for the fact that maybe you won't get any more chances? You shot down 3 already.
No, I think I will.
Well, all women think that.
Mm-hmm.
But 1 in 4 Black women were married.
Mm-hmm.
You've had 3 men propose to you that you allowed in your life. See, strangers don't propose to you.
Right.
So you allowed them in.
But don't you think, like, when you're in your 20s, like, that's just too early? Like,
you can't make this shit up.
I'm just.
When you're in your 20s, that's just too early.
Yes.
This is the common ideology in the Black community.
Yeah.
White women go to college, junior, senior year, they meet their husband. They marrying after college. Even if they go into grad school, they marry through grad school. Black women, they in college to prove they don't need a man.
Yeah, and we're taught to go live our lives, go experience the world, go make mistakes.
And that's what I said when we were muted, is that the only thing that happens by waiting, you gain more experience, you make more mistakes, and you make more babies. All things that don't make you any more attractive to a man. That's the part nobody wants to hear. Men typically are not looking for the mid-30 heading into 40-year-old woman that's been ran through and had sex with everybody and got multiple kids. That doesn't make you more attractive because you have a 6-figure career.
Right.
It doesn't work like that. And we're going to see why it doesn't work like that later. There's going to be something specific that's said that's going to be the light bulb.
Right.
No.
I'm just saying, when you're in your early 20s.
No. Absolutely not.
I think that's
I cannot make this shit up. This is our culture. If you watch my show at all this week, you would have known what those answers are.
I know, but I just feel like, okay, so I was like 22 and he proposed like after a year. My dad, he's at his house. He's in my life. He's like my best friend.
Okay, but your mother and father married?
No.
Exactly.
What is that exactly? What?
Because if mother and father were married, that's a different dynamic than mother and father being separate.
Mm-hmm.
What successful group of people who have ever lived the planet told women to delay marriage until later in life?
Well, that's not what I was meaning by that. I just felt like I wasn't ready.
Well, that's a problem with how you were raised, and you should have been ready.
At 22?
The French toast?
My grandma married at 17, if I'm not mistaken, and was married to her husband to the day he died in December. I mean, it's heartbreaking to hear like how foreign these ideas are nowadays. From 1875 to 1960, 80% of blacks were married. Today, 26%. We're waiting too long when marriage is meant to be two people coming together at the heart of their adulthood to build together. Mm-hmm. People don't want to grow together anymore. Yeah. We want to come with all of our baggage and try to force them into situations.
I don't think I wasn't.
Excuse me? And see that, and this is a big problem. I'm gonna just be honest, man. This is a big problem in the Black community. We're talking about women in particular. You guys are far too immature at your age. I want you to go back to your great-grandmother. When did your grandmother get married? What age?
She was young.
What age?
I don't know. I don't want to lie, but I know she was young. She was married for a long time.
About what age?
It had to be early 20s.
Most women got married before 21. In China today, if you're not married by 25, they call you leftover. No, it's free. Mm-hmm. See, the Black community were married at a rate of 80% prior to 1965. My grandmother got married at 19. Teenager is a modern invention. When you had your cycle, you were ready to be a wife. Like it or not, that's how biology makes it. Go back 300 years ago. When people didn't live to be 80. We had to get on with life. Mm-hmm. So that's what nature is saying, not Kevin. Nature is saying when a woman has her cycle, she can reproduce. That means she's reached her maturity. So what we have now is we have prolonged adolescence. At what age do you think the average woman should be ready for marriage?
Thanks to this, I'm able to pay for my rent. I was looking for a new opportunity and
I would like to see y'all post in the comments your answers to that. What age do you think the average woman should be ready for marriage? What's up, Justice? Appreciate you joining, bro.
I
30,
28.
30,
Closer to 30. Yeah.
30. And this is insane. Insane. I had a woman on from their radio station in Chicago where I said the same thing. We prolong, okay, the danger zone is ages 27 to 35. Right. You're almost at geriatric pregnancy.
Geriatric pregnancy.
I mean, I think I'm not mistaken, it's like 35 you consider at risk for pregnancy. So that's a good point that's going to be made later. I want to address Gabriella comment. She said, I've been proposed to twice, and there's factors to this. You a hot commodity, sis. I married what I wanted and ended up with control. I was oblivious to a lot because I saw it as love. So if I pass up an opportunity to marry because I'm recovering, then so be it. I have my daughter, doesn't mean I was ran through. The way this lady sees her proposal seems like a game. I agree with you. I mean, ran through was in reference to those who get ran through. Right. If that's not your situation, that doesn't mean that everybody that's not married is ran through. Right. So, please don't take everything I say personally. That's not what I'm saying. My boy P-Sack Rocky says 16. I ain't mad at you, player, because I mean
it's not in Georgia. You're with your parental.
I think a lot of states with parental consent you can marry under 18. Yeah. And I respect it, bro, because he's not talking about society or the legal system. Mm-hmm. He's talking about biology. I mean, a woman being ready. Right. And with society's impacts on people now, is that actually plausible? I think he's gonna have he's gonna have to pick the right young woman, right? And I'm not even saying that to say that you want a 16-year-old. Let me also put that out there. Yeah. We just answering questions. Mm-hmm. Mike Thomas said 25. I think that was the average age for marriage for a long time. Anastasia said 22. I agree with her. I agree with 22 for a woman at least.
Right after the age of being able to buy liquor, you're finally into your you feel like you're a real adult.
Yes. At 22. P-Sack said 15 if she Mexican. I ain't messing with you, bro. Justice said, I say whenever you ready. Okay. P-Sack said 30 plus for women is geriatric pregnancy. Wow. Mm. Anastasia said people are not as mature as they used to be. That's a fact. Mike Thomas said I was 22 and Anastasia was 20. Wow. I didn't know that
either. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I love those stories. I love when people grow together.
It's beautiful.
Man, I love hearing the elderly people tell those stories that we rarely are seeing those today. Like, I feel like we're being robbed of that in our culture.
That's what the OBGYNs call it. Geriatric pregnancy attaches at 35. Mm-hmm. Your prime mating and marrying years are the ages between 18 and 24. And then he's married by 24. If you went to college, right?
Yes.
Were you not surprised at how many of your non-Black, i.e. white counterparts were getting engaged in their junior and senior year? They're being married 1 or 2 years right outside of college. Did you work in corporate America?
Yes, I do now. Yes.
Yeah, but right out of college, did you see your non-Black counterparts in the summer times being bridesmaids and being in weddings left and right?
Yeah, I mean some.
All right, but did you see that with any Black women? No.
I have
one.
One.
One, but that's not the point.
I get
the most point is Black women have been told to go turn up, and you've been told by other women.
Go turn up.
You've been told by women, don't get married young, get you an education, get something on the ball. So what? In case the marriage don't work out, you'll have something to fall back on. You've been given the bad information by women. They've given you the wrong information. That's not what men want. Men don't want to marry women. Let's say I wanted to marry you, right?
Okay.
But I want 5 kids.
Okay.
We got a problem already.
Because I'm 34.
That's right.
How many people have given that thought? if you hold off marriage for your career until you're ready, and you finally at 34 years old say, okay, now I want a husband, I'm successful, where the men at? Have you thought about the fact that the men that are successful want a family? And if he wants 5 kids and you're 34, that's probably not plausible.
Yep.
Listen, if you can't help it because you are elderly or you're at a certain age, this is not for you.
Right.
This is addressing the culture. Maybe you use your wisdom and what you've been through to teach the next generation, because ultimately the youth are the future. We have to stop teaching this.
Yes.
Teach the next generation what you didn't know.
Marry young, build with one another.
Justice said, I want 4 and I'm 26. And he hasn't even reached this peak as a man yet. By the time he's 36, he's going to be coming into himself and really like financially like, okay, now I know who I am and I'm where I want to be.
Right.
If he marries a 36-year-old woman, is he going to get 4 kids? If she already got a career and she makes 6 figures and she's a boss in every other area of her life, is she going to want to give him 4 kids? Or is the kids going to be a holdup to the lifestyle she built for herself? This is what men think about. Let's play.
Okay. Okay.
So how do we keep the human race going if the replacement rate of birth is 3 children? The replacement rate. The average couple should be having 3 children. So unless you plan on having your kids back to back to back, if you stair step them 1, 3, and 5, that means if you get a woman that's 22, 23, she'll be done having her children by age what? 30. But if you're starting at 30, you're going to go right on past that to geriatric pregnancy. You guys are walking as opposed to nature, evolution, and everything else.
Yeah.
But when I'm talking to sisters like you, all I hear is fear. I wouldn't know if I was ready. Ready for what?
Ready for what?
I found out that I could earn a bachelor's degree in IT.
Has anybody really asked themselves that question? What are we waiting for? What are we waiting to be ready for? Gabriella had a fair answer. But what are we really afraid of? And then why? Matter of fact, I ain't even gonna spoil that. Let's let him get to that.
So you don't think like I should have been getting my career, getting some money in my account? You don't think that?
Notice she said my career. That's what she's waiting for. That's why I address this. It's not to shade career woman. It's not because I just want to take them all out and make them feel bad. Mm-hmm. It's because this is why they're not marrying us. They're marrying their career instead.
And then a lot of them are regretting those decisions that they're making.
Oh, no. Do you want to be married?
Because you're going to meet, because I
want to be married?
Yeah.
How many children would you like?
I always said 3 at the most, but I'm fine with, at this point, not having any.
But then you don't sound like their wife. That's selfish. I wouldn't marry a woman that doesn't want kids. Why would a man marry a woman that doesn't want to have kids?
No, I said if I always wanted 3, but if I don't have any now, then it's like.
Okay, but the answer to the question, if you were to get married and have 3 children, would you want to have to work to pay significant bills after you're pregnant with the first child? No. So due respect, your career means nothing because as soon as you get pregnant, you throw it away anyway and go become a mother.
Now, that part blew me away. As soon you did all this work to become a career woman, and your last thing on the list is becoming a mother, just so you can throw all that hard work away, so you can sit home and be the mother that you always wanted to be. It's silly. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of your youth and your best years.
And for my military folk, I know y'all see it all the time. Women that get married in the military and they like, I'm getting out. They get pregnant and they like, I'm done. Salute, Uncle Sam. P Sax says she's finished for me. God bless her though. Hey, y'all think I'm hard on women? Y'all go follow that brother. He ain't gonna say everything he think. But one reason I keep him around, because he makes me look like an angel.
So what you be bringing to me is hey, husband, here is $15,000 to $60,000 worth of student loan debt. I'm not going to be working. I'm going to just become a mom. So now we got a downsized home or whatever, because I got to pay $50,000 or 30, whatever. I got to pay all that. Versus if you just be honest and say, I want to be married and have kids and I don't want that. So getting some money in your account, due respect, man, most women have jobs and you don't save money. The number is, it says what the average Black woman by age 35 has a net worth of negative $5. So for $5, it's not that much. Most women don't save any money. I date women. Mm-hmm. Y'all broke.
What women you date? Because I ain't broke.
I'm not gonna cap, man. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't want to go there, but the numbers are pretty clear. You can go look at the numbers yourself. Women are not financially solvent. So all of this degree and going to stack money, it's not like when a man meets you, he meets you at 27 years old and you say, I've got $100,000 in a Roth IRA. I paid off all my student loan debt. This. My credit rating is a 780. That's not what happens. What tends to happen is I got a car note, I got an apartment, I got consumer debt, I got credit card debt. You leverage to the hilt, and most guys are like, okay, all right. Then we're still supposed to be able to pay the lion's share of that. In most cases, you want us to pay all of it, and then what do we get in exchange for that? We're supposed to take on all. I'll give you a room, but a high value man who can pay all that has to take on all your debt and all what he's doing. And what does he get in exchange? The same thing the dude at the Home Depot get. That's what he gets in exchange for it. That's why I say you ladies need to understand the kind of men you're talking about. I was saying, are you kidding me?
And for context, when he say the kind of men that you're thinking about, are you kidding me? It's because most women, once they get to their 30s and 40s, if you ask them and they're honest, they always want a six-figure man every time. Watch his show. Don't take my word for it. He's an image consultant. They call into him asking, what can I do to better help me on the dating market to find men who are serious looking for marriage? And every time when he runs down what they're looking for in a man, first thing out their mouth, he got to make six figures. Or if they really, women who are really successful, they say he got to make at least what I make.
Or more.
Every time. Every time. And that's the danger of not building with your man. That's the danger. Because honestly,
the numbers just
the numbers don't add up. Only 10%, my bad, 9% of Americans make over six figures. I think that's a red pill right there by itself for many people. So you cannot expect men that fall within that 9%, that's men and women that's in this 9%, to do anything other than pick from the cream of the crop, because they can. They are not going to pick 40-year-old women, and they definitely typically aren't picking baby mamas, because the men that get to that position, they're business savvy, they're careful with their money. They're not going to take on an unnecessary investment that's going to put them in a negative from day one, especially when they have to deal with another man being involved with their household.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of women feel entitled to that, and they really don't appreciate that. I've been a stepdad, and I'm gonna tell you, it's one of the least appreciated jobs out here. You know, that was something me and the wife dealt with, and we worked on that. And I'm thankful that I didn't have it as bad as a lot of men did. But it's a very thankless job, and men are not dealing with that. My kids come first. Get over it type mentality. If they're going to be a stepdad, it ain't gonna work. If you don't see what he's doing by taking your kid in as a value that you should be thankful for, you're gonna have a hard time getting a man. A masculine man. You know, maybe it's always exceptions out here, but you're gonna have a hard time with that. And it's very possible. I'm living it, but again, I also we ain't get married. She ain't married no 6-figure man. When you picking from the cream of the crop and they don't have to do that, typically they're not going to.
Right.
Because they have the selection to choose whoever they want to.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, are we marrying for family values? Or are we marrying for lifestyle? If you're marrying for lifestyle, you're going to have to sacrifice some things.
Right.
Justice said, never add up. It's 2021. People these days are looking and thinking about these things at this moment when. Facts. And I'm just trying to give y'all the real, you know, because it's an issue out here.
It's a
Go ahead.
reprogramming that our culture, that our community has to go through, because we've been, you know, our community has been through so much, and now we've put these things, the trauma that's been placed in our community has led our direction rather than learning from these situations and finding solutions to them. And we're walking in fear. We're making sure we have careers, so we have a backup plan if husband doesn't, if he fails. And when you walk into a marriage with that mindset, oh, I have to have a backup plan, I have to have my own bank account that he doesn't know about, I have to put money aside, that leaves a door open for divorce, in my opinion. And I think that too many of us live our lives through the trauma of our parents and the women that we're being taught by, and we just got to break these toxic cycles, because obviously if you look in our community, you see the rating, what is it, 70% of our children are living in homes with no fathers, and you see how that's affecting their lives, and it's becoming a cycle. We got to do something about that. And how do we do that? Is by fixing home. And what changed in our home? Women started to feel like that they needed to find a career, find something to make sure that they're gonna be all right without them. They need to make sure they don't need a man.
Bingo.
There you go.
That's it. And I mean, that's where we at now. And I think so far, so many of us, if you're not elderly, are so far removed from that transition that you don't recognize this reality to be anything different than what's normal to you.
Right.
You know, it's hard to fathom a different reality. I can't imagine in America where 80% of blacks are married. I can't even fathom what that looks like. That feels like the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, growing up, I go into a friend's house and I see a father there. It was always like, oh, cool.
Your dad lives here.
Cool.
That was odd for us as black people. We did not see dads that often. And if you saw a dad, he was picking his kid up on the weekend. It's rare to see a dad in our community, yo.
Yeah.
And it ain't uncommon for dad to be in jail.
Yeah.
and that's a cycle. That's statistically, you know, my father was in prison. Statistically, I think it's 73% chance that I was supposed to be in prison.
Yeah.
So in so many ways, a lot of us don't even know what to be thankful for, because we're living miracles. Because I've defied almost every statistic that I'm supposed to follow so far. Not almost every, because I'm a high school dropout. But I mean, it's time to address these matters. Justice said facts, wifey. He rooting for you. P Sack says sad facts.
Yeah.
And it's just time to be real, because like your moms ain't telling you, your dads ain't there to tell you, especially in the Black community. And these women are really grown up believing you can have anything you want, and that junk is like a fairy tale.
You can have it all.
Because honestly, Mike Thomas, I skipped over his comment. He said, to me, he said, you stepdad of the decade. I still forget a couple of them aren't yours.
Yeah.
Great compliment.
Yes.
I appreciate you, bro. But most importantly, that's an educational statement. Mm-hmm. Because most of my brothers, my friends, if I'm honest, most of them wouldn't do what I've done. Some of them have told me, like, bro, I ain't got that in me, bro. You a good man for that. And I'm saying this for you, ladies. Like, it wasn't hard for me. It was hard for me. It was hard for me. I had to swallow my ego. And the only thing that made it work for me is that nigga was a deadbeat and he won't come into my house to pick his kids up. If that was the dynamic, I probably wouldn't have made it. And that's sad, because I don't want to influence you to keep the kids from him or make you think that incentivize not allowing a man to see his kids. But the reality is, dudes don't be trying to deal with that.
Yeah.
Because, that's a lot, especially when it's multiple fathers. I couldn't imagine having another man having a say-so in my house. That's not easy.
Yeah, and most eligible bachelors, that's one of their things. I'm not going to date a woman with a kid.
Yep. And even deeper than this, you'll have the scenario where, and I'm not going to kill y'all with Kevin Samuels videos, but I was watching another one the other day where he gave her a breakdown. He was like, question. So if I was to marry you, because she was saying that she was in step to make like $400K a year. She wanted a man to make what she makes or higher, which is like less than 3% of men. Mm-hmm. So you already got a pool this small. And he was like, if I was to marry you, would I be able to whip your kids? Whip them? No. He like, okay. So pretty much you want me to pick up the bill for them, pay for them, support them, provide shelter for them. While, mind you, she also said that the other two baby daddies don't pay any child support because she made an agreement with them. They don't pay nothing. Just when they got the kids, they do their part then. So he's supposed to house, feed, and provide for children that he can't spank.
Yeah.
Do you think it doesn't become a point where the kids start to recognize you beneath me? Don't tell me what to do.
Tell my daddy.
I'm going to tell my daddy. Listen, men don't want to deal with that. So when you get one that does, appreciate that.
Yeah.
Don't be entitled. Don't be entitled and be on that. If you don't take my kids, you ain't. Be easy with that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's so many women out here that don't have kids. And especially if this is a man that has done well for himself and he's in that top 9%, he makes over 6 figures, he does not have to deal with that. Mm-hmm. Women are jumping out their skirts to be with him. So we got to change these mindsets. Like, if we're going to want families, we got to value families, and we can't buy into this feminist idea that the world revolves around me. And because I'm a female, I can have whatever you want. You may get a lot of prospects for sex. Mm-hmm. Don't let that delude you. That don't mean you'll level up here, because a dude with a Benz will sleep with you. Did he propose you marriage? Because my brothers in here, most of them will agree that they've slept with plenty of people that they would never give a ring to. That's the difference between men and women. That's not your level now. And so,
And to touch back on stepfathers and all of this, basically, as a woman, it can be hard with society pressuring us and our parents feeding us things, because even after marriage, I had my mother deter me from allowing my husband to father my children. because she, you know, I had a stepfather. I never let your stepfather spank your kids. I never
Right.
let this.
That's why he gone.
I'm like, you know, and they're divorced. And she was trying to tell me that I shouldn't be putting you in the place of the head of the home because you're not the father of my children. And I'm like, Mom, he is. We're married.
Meanwhile, you notice I ain't cut her off all day, so I'm about to get hyped right now. Meanwhile, the Negro that did father them ain't pay nothing, ain't called to check on his kids, didn't give a damn if they was dead or alive. Man, you can miss me with all that.
She
energy.
knew all of that, but it was just the fact that you're just stepdad.
Yep.
And she tried to beat that into me. Thankfully, I had a good foundation. Thankfully, I was kind of logical and reasoned that you're divorced twice, so maybe I shouldn't be taking, advice from you. But it can be hard for us ladies when we're getting all this influence from people we love and respect, from the media. It's hard for us to ignore it. But you got to really sit down and think about what's important to you. And if your husband is what's important to you, if your family and building this family is what's important to you, no voice should be over what you and your husband are talking about. If he feels like this and this, or I should be able to say what I need to say to the kids, I should be able to, we should be able to share an account. I shouldn't have to be worried that you hide money from me. All these things, if y'all have an agreement, don't let outsiders deter you from what works for y'all, because no relationship is the same. But us as women, we're natural followers. So even if we're not following our husband, we're following somebody out here. We're following society. We're following other women. We're following what we think is good. And, we just got to refocus our minds on our family, us, this home, this roof.
Facts. Especially if a man is giving you his hand in marriage, and he's dedicated his life to providing and protecting for you and another man's kids. Ladies, I can't stress enough, please don't devalue that. Don't let your ego get in the way of that, because I'm encouraging more men to step up to that plate. But I can't make a man do what he don't have to do. And the majority of brothers ain't doing it. And I can't shame them for that, because they get the right to that choice. So don't make it easy for them.
Right.
Make it easy for them. I can't beat that over the head enough. With that said, the career woman thing, I think a lot of people don't realize a lot of these things until it's too late. This is a woman that was a CFO of a major Wall Street bank. And she's kind of giving that message to young ladies moving forward, because she doesn't want people to make the same mistakes she did. I thought this was really cool.
Begin this half hour with more fuel in the heated debate over work and family, dropped by one of the big power players on Wall Street. In a moving op-ed in the New York Times, former Lehman Brothers CFO Erin Callan opens up about the regret she feels for putting her career ahead of her personal life. The opposite of what you're hearing from other top women in business right now. NBC's Ann Curry spoke with Callan exclusively.
Erin Callan is a surprising new voice in the growing national discussion about women in work.
Lean in, take the seat at the table, tell people you want to lead, whatever it might be. But just be aware of what may come from that.
She was once one of the most powerful women on Wall Street, CFO of Lehman Brothers. She completely disappeared from the public eye after the bank's demise and says she still can't discuss it for legal reasons. But in this exclusive interview, she is adding her voice to the ideas of Facebook COO Sheryl Sandberg, presented in speeches like this commencement address at Barnard College.
Do not lean back, lean in. Put your foot on that gas pedal and keep it there until the day you have to make a decision, and then make a decision.
Was there something in the message that Sheryl Sandberg was sending out that sparked you to want to speak out now?
Yes, and also in terms of some of the reaction to that message. And I would probably look at myself as someone who lived that message. And I did achieve great success in my career. I'm just trying to provide a bit of what I'll call a warning label that, hey, there's something else to think about as you're leaning in, so to speak.
You have leaned in.
I leaned in far, very far. I've had many young women over time that I've tried to give advice to, guidance to, and I would always be very honest and say, don't do it like me.
You mentioned consequences. What are they?
A lot of things during my career that I missed out on. Events, relationships with people, birthday parties, just spending time with friends and family and enjoying it and enjoying myself. There was a big thing I missed out on, which is I didn't have children.
Now 47, Erin Callan is trying to have children and offering a life lesson she wishes someone had offered her.
I wanted to be a little bit sort of a cautionary tale, like you can achieve, you can accomplish, you can have an amazing career with great success, even in a male-dominated field that I did. But be careful what you wish for and the choices that you make.
That was Ann Curry reporting, and you can see more of Ann's story on Rock Center with
CFO.
She got it all. Big Wall Street executive. She was the American feminist dream. Everything that they tell you to strive to be. And here she is towards the second half of her life saying, damn, I wish somebody would have said to me what I'm saying to y'all right now. Mm. That junk hurts my feelings, yo, to see that. I mean, she seems like a decent woman. Mm-hmm. And you can feel a longing in her speech. Yeah. And I see this all the time. I have female Facebook friends and plenty of people, especially that are in the second half of their life. People don't want to be alone. Mm-hmm. I think about all the time that 20 years from now, I'm going to be 52 with adult kids that are beginning to give me grandchildren. The second half of my life will never be alone unless I'm toxic and I run them all away. That is the most blessed part of living for me right now. Yeah. Any work that I do is to feed my family and build their legacy. Mm-hmm. I'm not caring about society's picture of anything because I'm set. This is success to me. Right.
It is. That reminds me of that story when we was at Bell's or
we was at Ross. What was this about 3 to 4 years ago? African brother comes up to me in Ross. Well, we had about 4 or 5 kids at the time, but it had to be about 4. Yeah. And we pushing them around in the carts, and he comes up to me like, my brother, I just want to tell you, you are very successful man. And I'm like, bro, I think this was like right after I got out the military. If I'm not mistaken. Actually, we was at Ross. So yeah, I had got out the military and my career path, I had a business that I was supposed to go into. Mm-hmm. And depending on a family member that ended up going to jail, that didn't happen. Lost all the contacts for what we were supposed to do. And my financial stability just plummeted. Mm-hmm. From being an E6 in the Navy, making decent amount of money to a civilian with nothing. And for this brother to come up to me, you know what I'm saying, where we didn't have the best of anything. And he's like, you are successful to me, my brother. And I'm like,
he said, this is success.
What you mean? He like, this right here, what I see, this is success. Many people think that all of this is success, but success to me is what you got right here. I'm like,
it made me cry. It was just like, wow.
And that was God. I needed that. I needed that.
Yeah.
Because I want to say I ended up getting evicted after that, or this might have been right before we got evicted and we lost our place. We spent like 3 months living in hotels, and like we really like we went through it during this season. And like, I don't know. I want to say this might have been right after we got a place, maybe. I don't remember. But either way it goes, I know I needed that at the time because it allowed me to refocus and see like, yo.
I think I was pregnant at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everything that society is telling me like don't mean nothing. Like I had nothing, but I had my family. My home was full. We were prospering in our souls.
Right.
And from that day forward, I just was like, yo, like, I really learned to appreciate this because even now, I'm just learning how blessed we were. The more I'm hearing all of these stories, I'm like, everybody doesn't have this.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I have someone to grow old with, and I have something to look forward to. I have multitudes of human beings that are going to enter my life in the future. Multitudes. If all 6 of my kids have 2, I got 12 grandkids coming.
That's true. That's true. And that's bare minimum.
And what the hell? Let's go ahead and make an announcement. Since there's 7 people in here, we got one on the way.
You can't see it.
So if all 7 of my kids have 2, I have 14 grandkids. I don't need nothing else. I can lay on a hammock until the day I die and just watch my grandkids jump on the trampoline, and I'm cool.
Yeah.
And this is what nobody's teaching people. So I don't know who's here, man, and who Shayla said the struggle made you stumble across the strength of who you are. I appreciate
like
that. That's good.
I like
yo,
that.
She's something. You something, yo. You young too. Like I want to see who you about to become. P Sex said, congrats for real. I appreciate that, bro.
Thank you.
I really like that guy, especially coming from you. I appreciate. I don't know what it is about him, but something I'm gonna figure out later. Something special about him. Anastasia says, finally, you guys are blessed. Congratulations. Yes. Shayla said, oh, congratulations, Let. And go grab some onesies from Target.
Well, I just had a baby. We
Listen,
got onesies.
We got plenty hand-me-downs. We got hand-me-downs.
Hand-me-downs.
And we got a stimmy. We got a healthy stimmy.
A healthy stimmy.
So we good money. But I appreciate the thought and the heart behind that for real. And that's real, man. If y'all want further on this topic, though, I just was on a panel. I was asked to join a panel on a friend of mine's show. And it was about what men really want. And I think because I want to say I might have been the one that posed the question to her. And I was saying, like, listen, everybody's talking about gender roles, relationship issues, but how many of y'all actually asked men what they want?
What they want.
So she did it. And she had a panel of 4 brothers. 2 of us were married. 1 was single, and 2 were single. 1 was a younger, I want to say mid-20s brother. The other was an older gentleman. And you can see the dynamic because the younger brother wanted to be married, and you could hear how he talked. The older gentleman said he had no intention to be married. He's not even looking for that. And you can hear how he talked. And it's just a really great painting of the picture that we're laying out here when you hear the conversation, how that went about. It's getting late. If y'all want to see a clip of it, let me know in the comments. If not, I'll post the link in the comments and you can watch the whole video.
Shout out to Urban Country Films.
Shout out to Urban Country Films. The show is called Shelly Speaks Truth. And I appreciate being on there. It was really a great experience. I want to get the Gabriella comment before we get out of here. My bad, sis. I held you all the way to the end.
Is she still here?
If she's still here, if not, she can catch the playback. She said, I just see that children come first because you can't just divorce your children. No matter what happens between you and your life partner, you will always be responsible for them. Yet here we have women and men walking out because their views, desires, etc. have now changed. That's a tough one.
It is. It's a tough one, especially for, women who have children. It's like, what? My children always come first. But once you really get committed into a relationship and you understand the dynamics of, husband and wife, when you put your mate at the top, your children benefit from that. And I think we also have to change that mindset of marriage being so what's the word, able to be thrown away so easily. I don't see marriage that way. I look at marriage as lifelong. My kids are going to leave my home and marry, and I won't have any responsibility over them anymore, and then I'm left with my husband is
That's
who
deep.
I'm spending the rest of my life with, not my children. When they grow up, when they marry, they're not supposed to be up under me anymore. They're out of the nest. They have to live their life. And I have to be okay and trust what I instilled in them. And like I said, what's left is me and him. So if I spent all my life focusing and putting everything into my children and not putting anything into our marriage, when they're gone, we're going to be looking at each other like, who are you?
I'm going too.
If the children was what held us together in the first place, when they're gonna leave.
You see that a lot too. I got marriages like that in my family where once the kids was old enough, they're like, all right, we ain't got to play this charade no more. We know we don't love each other.
Right.
And so I definitely think that was a good question for you to answer. That was more of a mother question, because I think mothers connect with their kids
Right, and
differently.
I understand that, because to hear it kind of be like, what? No, because naturally, yes, we're gonna die for our kids. But at the end of the day, if we put the structure of putting our mate in our relationship, our marriage, before making sure that I mean the kids are just gonna simply benefit from that much better than if it was just me giving my all to them. Now we have a partnership, two people giving their all to them, and it works better. But as a single mother, yeah, heck yeah, put your children first.
Of course. I mean, who else? Ain't nobody, especially if ain't no man committed to you, you a fool.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna advise this, and I've said it before. As a man that dated a woman with kids, listen, it was not fun to hear my kids come first. Just put them first. I'm just saying, because that might scare a man off. Men have egos. And as a man coming into the life of a woman who you want to marry, you want to know that she is ready to come into your world and put you first. Men have egos. This is something that society frowns upon. I think we would do a lot better if we just understood this reality and we learned to embrace it and how to deal with it. I mean, if my brothers in here can be honest and tell me if maybe I'm just a weak nigga, men have egos.
Right.
It does not feel good to hear that somebody's gonna come before you, especially a child, because at the end of the day, if we're supposed to create a bond and you're telling me the child comes before me, then on the hierarchy of the house, that makes me last. So I'm just the extra nigga that's providing. I'm welfare at that point. I'm food stamps. And no man wants to be that. You know what I mean? So, if that's how you gonna move, it might be hard to marry.
It's gonna be a turnoff for a man.
Yeah.
But also, what's turnoff for a man is a woman who doesn't care for her children.
Listen.
So it doesn't mean you gotta dish your children.
Absolutely.
Doesn't mean that you have to place them last. It just means that we gotta put things into perspective when it comes to, like you said, ego. I like that you brought that up. I wanted to say something about ego, and a lot of women like to paint that as something bad. Men having ego. Even Beyonce talked about her man having an ego. It is okay for a man to have an ego, and it is even better for the woman to pet that ego, build that ego.
Somebody gonna do it.
Somebody's gonna do it. You be that person to pet that ego. Don't say, oh, nah, I ain't about to do all that, and have this pride about you. You feel like you don't have to pet his ego. I'm telling you, though, somebody will. And I'm not saying you got to compete with everybody in the world. I'm just saying that's something that you got to accept about men. We can't change men.
Every man want to be a king in his home.
Yeah.
Like, if he come home and he a peasant, that ain't a good look.
That
ain't a good look. And I mean, that's just simple as that. Shaylette said, food stamps, EBT, eating better today and tomorrow. Listen, it be like that. Shaylette said, my grandma says marriage is about 3 things: forgiveness, togetherness, and a promise, never giving up on each other. That's a fact. We so easy to throw people away, man, myself included. I married young and for the wrong reasons, yo, and my mindset was not prepared, yo, and I think that's the problem. A lot of men ain't really ready for marriage, like in early adulthood. Yep, marriage before this one. I'm on my second marriage. A lot of men are not ready for marriage at that age. Mike Thomas, he's a phenomenon, you know, and he got a wife that was as committed as him, and they stuck it out and they grinded through it, and that's what it's about, man. It's working through, for better or for worse, to thicker and thin, and that's not a concept that's common nowadays.
It's he gotta go. He gotta go. He messed up. Nope. Yep. We don't have time for that. We're not settling. Yeah. There's that word.
Yes. Everything is out of the question for women now, because they got a job. They don't need you. Yeah. And if they ain't got a job, they got welfare. They don't need you.
Marriage is work. Hard work.
Mike Thomas said 100% all of it. Massage my ego.
Yeah, massage.
Listen. Listen, you think it's a game when you done massaging my, matter of fact, at the same time, while you massaging my back, massage my ego. Yes. Put a crown on that nigga head if you got to make him know, like, yo, you the man, you my world. Like, I'm just saying, listen, that's free game. Y'all ain't gotta hear it.
Yeah. I'm telling you, but it's like I said, and I always come back to this. That's why it's the strongholds in our community. We just gotta break free. We gotta break out of these toxic cycles, because I can't count how many people cringed and was annoyed with me calling my husband king. Why? He is my earthly king. He is my covering. Why can't I call him king? Why can't I build him up? And it just make women squirm, like, ugh, why you gotta, he ain't no king. He my king, he ain't your king. Okay, that's fine. Why is this an issue? You're stupid.
Nah, but for real, man, you gotta make marriage fun. You gotta enjoy each other, and you gotta treat each other like you your world. That's part of becoming one. And we live and we learn, man, especially when we're young. But hopefully we can take our experiences, our mistakes, and we can feed the next generation, especially the people that are older, like I said, and you got a lot of wisdom. Share that. It's one major problem I have with the Black community. It's a lot of single mothers teaching their kids to be single mothers. I don't like that. Yeah. You know, you see the mistakes you had, you see you lonely. Don't be jealous of your daughter. Help them not make the same mistakes. Help your nieces and your cousins to see life differently than you did. Shaylette said, what they want to call him, call him Uncle Phil. Let him know, man.
Call him Uncle Phil, whatever you want. Man.
Let him know. So I ain't gonna keep y'all all night, man. Especially I got married people in here. They got business to get to. At the end of the day, I'm just thankful that y'all spent this much time with me. We're gonna be back at it again. We about to get a YouTube channel popping where we're gonna do some reactions to some of this stuff. Gabriella says Sanders' ego said, I'm here.
Gabriella, we answered your question earlier. Were you here to see it?
She missed it.
All right, play it back. We answered that.
She probably missed it, because if she didn't miss it, let us know how you feel about that.
Right.
Anastasia said you have to address single mom competition too.
What you mean? What do you mean by that competition? Single mom competition?
Are you saying single moms competing with each other or competing with married women?
Right.
If you can address that real quick to clarify. But Yeah, I guess we'll wait a second for that one.
Yeah.
But let me post that link for anybody who wants to see competing with their daughters who Harry.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
Hey.
That's you. Testing.
I don't even know where to start with that one. It's a lot of that going on. It's a lot of that, and it comes from bitterness and jealousy. And no child, no young woman wants to believe that their own mother is jealous of them. So they're not going to see it as jealousy until it's too late, until you start to take on, the advice that mom is giving you, until you realize, hold up, something ain't sitting right.
Something ain't right about this shit. Hold on, wait a minute.
Why are you mad at me for having another baby? What is going on here?
Right.
You told me you prayed.
Talk about it.
That I would get married and settle down. Now that I have, why are you trying to tear this down?
Talk about it.
Man, I've been through it. It's crazy. And when my husband told me, she's jealous of you, I said, nah, she's not jealous of me.
Not mommy.
Not mom. I mean, she's probably, just stuck in her ways. She's jealous of you. And then when I started to hear the lies and the slander that was going on behind my back, that only happens with chicks that was jealous of me, because I've had chicks jealous of me in high school and stuff.
When we pulled up and she had the same haircut you had.
Had the same hair. Not only did she have the same haircut, when I got mine cut, why you got your hair cut? It don't really match your face. And then the next time I seen her, she had the exact same haircut. It happens.
Listen, we would need a whole 3-hour live to run you through the hell this woman put us through. And some of my friends here already know the blunt of the story. Mm-hmm. Like, when I tell you we don't look like the hell we've been through, I'm telling you, I'm talking about that was enough to almost put an end to this marriage. Yeah. It's the grace of God we hear.
Yes. Yes. I felt like I was in hell. I've never experienced the kind of warfare that I did with that woman. It's narcissism is very heavy in our community as well. So,
and it's because of the trauma. And that's what we're gonna get on next time. We're gonna have to do them reactions to paternity court. If you never seen it, that's gonna be fun. Gabriella said, I got 3 hours. Oh, see, you living that good life. You must be on that COVID-19 schedule. Smitty said, I know I missed so much. I just got home. My bad, bro. I posted that link to that other video in there where I was on the panel. So y'all check that out when you get a chance. I don't know. We got 7 people here. Who got a little bit of time? If y'all got a little bit of time, I might got something to show y'all real quick. Let me know. Shaylet said they don't know your story. Just keep writing, added pages. It'll be published and God will be pleased. Pray for us, sis, because we really want to write a book.
Yeah, we do.
And we ain't 100% of how much we want to put out there or what direction we want to go. But yeah, we need to do that. We need to do that.
We do. We need to be more vulnerable.
We need to do that. Shaylet says she got time.
So the P-Sock.
P-Sock said he got time. Oh no, P-Sock said do it.
He said paternity court. Woo. Man.
Yo, that joke is crazy. Like some of the stuff we starting to see going on in our community. It's like Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Where is the ones we watched? Wasn't that on my account? All right.
Yeah.
Which one?
I liked her. I liked her, and
we need one of the real toxic ones.
That was it.
These are the only ones we watched. I think
that was no. I ain't really like that one. The boy.
All right, we're gonna roll with this one, right? I think this is a perfect example. You don't remember her?
Yeah, I remember her.
We gonna roll with that one.
All right.
And listen, we really like.
This is not just another streaming app. What? Are you joking me, bro? It's the mountain of comedy entertainment.
We really are old. We're like really on our mom and dad stuff, and like we'll do a lot, man. We get out every now and then if we get a sitter, but otherwise we're sitting in here watching stuff like this. So
Yeah.
we exposing ourselves right now.
Running our mouths.
We exposing ourselves. Shayla said fraternity court is ghetto. Like these stories be having me weak in class, sis. And that's why we gotta show them, because it's like it's putting everything we talking about right now into perspective. This is the problems that are coming from fatherlessness in our communities.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Jordan versus Heim.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Mr. Jordan, you claim the defendant tricked you into signing her daughter's birth certificate and being a daddy. But 2 years later, you were told that another man is her biological father. You opened your case because you want DNA proof you are not the father so you can get your name removed from the birth certificate. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Heim, you admit to being unfaithful to Mr. Jordan, but say he is Caitlin's father. You say Mr. Jordan abandoned you and your daughter, and you intend to prove paternity today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Jordan, you say Ms. Heim tricked you?
Yes.
Explain.
She tricked me into thinking that I was the father. She tricked me into thinking that Caitlin was my first daughter. She tricked me into thinking that the other guy had done got a paternity test on Caitlin, because she told me, oh, he already got one, and you know what I'm saying? That's why I know it's just you. She tricked me into thinking that family was something sacred.
You believe she was intentionally deceitful?
Yes.
And what was her motive?
You know what? I think her only motive was that she was able to get away with it, honestly. Because at the end of the day, I think that she had the advantage as far as to having a dad that could take care and provide for Caitlin. Because I was there since day one. You know what I'm saying? So
you thought her motive really was that you were a provider, you were there for the child, and you were going to do right by the child.
Right.
But you believe she was being deceitful.
Yeah.
Were you being deceitful, Ms. Heim?
No, ma'am. He's a great father, and I only had sex with one man when we were together, and I had sex with him one time, but we've been messing around for 7 years, and I never became pregnant. I met Chris, and all of a sudden I came pregnant. So
all of a sudden,
Chris is the father.
So wait, you're saying that you were only having sex with one other man other than Mr. Jordan?
Just one time in April, and then I found out I was pregnant in June.
Okay, so was that potentially the window of conception?
Yes, Your Honor, but I know that Chris is the father.
But how if you had sex with the other guy?
Yo, y'all wilding in the comments. Y'all gotta chill.
I just know that he's the father.
So, Mr. Jordan.
And he needs to stop listening. No, he listens to his family members, my family members, the people on the street, and everything about that. And I just came today to show everybody on the streets, his family members, my family members, that he's the father, and I'm tired of it.
She came to prove herself to the streets.
Because it is upsetting you.
Yes.
And it's because you feel like they're lying on you? Because Mr. Jordan says you consistently lie. What are you feeling?
Hurt. Because my daughter, she's old enough to realize she came and asked me, does my dad still love her? And that hurt me so bad.
She asked you, does my daddy still love me?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, if I will, let's pause. Now, my wife is harsh. She like, I don't see no tears. Now, I want to believe the woman really sad. Maybe I'm a sucker.
I don't believe her daughter said that. I don't. She's looking for sympathy.
Now, We just seen so many things here, like though, like I couldn't imagine hearing my child say that. See, Gabriella said the same thing, no tears. All right, the women got the intuition. I'm gonna roll with y'all.
I done seen
There's never been a moment where Caitlin and I have been around each other and she feels like I love her less than or anything like that. Like, I love that little girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was there.
There go a tear.
I passed out. I was there. You know what I'm saying? I sung happy birthday when she was born. You know what I'm saying? I watched the little nasty little afterbirth. Horrible. You know what I'm saying? But I was
So
there.
you were there for the whole birth and
Everything.
the nasty afterbirth.
Everything. You know what I'm saying? I was there for the weird pregnancy cravings. I was there to rub the feet. I was there to get up out my sleep at night to go get pickles and ice cream. That's what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I never grew up with my parents. You know what I'm saying? So I'm real big.
Nope. I never grew up with my parents. Every episode, same narrative.
On being a parent to my child. That, like, when this little girl was born, like, that would change my life. Like, that would did it for me. That's what made me start going in a positive direction. You know what I'm saying?
But this is what I don't understand. It was all going well.
It was, you know what I'm saying?
And so how does it go wrong?
This is where it goes wrong. Her and the family member gets into like an altercation or whatnot, like an argument. It wasn't even an altercation, an argument. And it was like they started like throwing dirt on each other. You know what I mean? So she said something about this family member's in front of this family member's boyfriend or whatever. So so the family member turned around and was like, "Well, why you ain't told Chris that he's not Caitlin's dad?"
What?
So I'm like, at that moment, it was just like I was more in shock than it, because at the end of the day, it's just like, it's very funny, but you know, you can say whatever. But as she was saying it, she pulls out the phone and she started showing me I could pull it up. I ain't gotta lie. It's what the family member tells me. And I'm like, that
messy. They're messy. They're messy. They're messy.
What does she pull up?
She's jealous because Chris was a good person.
Pictures of this other of the other guy and my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like having moments together or pictures of.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Caitlin's 2 years old. You think you have a daughter and the perfect girl? You got a good life.
Yes. I actually have evidence.
Oh, let me see that. So you think you having a good life, and then they get into an argument when Caitlin's 2, a family member of Miss Heim, and they start going off on one another.
And then like everything just comes right out right then. And I'm like,
and so the family member shows you pictures, and this evidence you submitted is one of the pictures.
Yeah, and as you can see right here, Your Honor, like I mean, I don't like to say people look alike, but I'm like, yo.
My brothers. How would you feel if you at the cookout and your girlfriend / baby mama pull out this picture with your daughter in a nigga lap? This is horrifying, knowing that this is happening to men in our community.
Yeah.
And what's even more horrifying is how common it is, because these are babies having babies.
Mm-hmm.
This is the result of fatherlessness.
And look at the caption.
Smitty said, "Get the strap." Look at the caption. My bro, me and my baby Kate. Sweetheart, how do you think this is okay? I don't get it. Like, did you think this was the father? Because you're saying that you know the other man's the father, and you have your kid in another man's lap with his shirt off. And then it's like Smitty say, "Get the strap." This is why. This is some of the reason why it be men in jail.
Dumb
and
stuff.
You can't even righteously do anything about it because she let this happen. Shaylette said that woman ain't nobody. That lady close to the Social Security. P-Sex said, "Not my daughter." Facts.
I mean, I don't like to say people look alike, but I'm like, yo, it's a lot of resemblance here.
And bro, real
If you
cool
want more
about
episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell.
I would have tore that cook out to shreds.
I have have a challenge for all of you. Go to every computer in your house, your mom's, your dad's, your sister, your brother's computer, and install Honey. Wait, Mom, before...
Cookout would have been over. Where we at?
So this is another one posted up, and this
me
is
and my
from
baby Kate.
Santavius Knight, and it reads, "Me and my baby Kate."
And my thing is, when anybody get the time to even take my daughter over to somebody else? Like how am I the last person to find out?
Do you know who this man is, Miss Heim?
That's the guy I had sex one time with when I met Chris. That's the one I was having sex since 2010.
So what was Caitlyn doing?
So immature.
Make up your mind. She said, this is the guy I had sex one time with. That's the guy I've been having sex with since 2010. What? Which one is it?
On his lap.
My family members are messy, so when I drop her off on the weekend, I don't know what they do.
I object.
Wait a minute, when you drop...
Yana, I object. My thing is, what your family members got to do with my daughter on another man's lap?
Right, that's what I want to know.
I didn't say.
How did she get over there? Did you take her over there?
That time I did on that couch.
No accountability.
That time. So it's been more than one time?
First is my family did it. They messy. Now that time I took her. No accountability. These are the women that hate Kevin Samuels and say that he gay and he's women bashing.
No, that was the only one.
Your Honor, I object.
What was your point of having the baby have this relationship with Santavius that he's calling her his baby?
I didn't tell him that. I told him I was pregnant.
Miss Heim, I'm going to need you to tell me what the deal is. I need to know what's going on. She's old enough to know. Who does she think her father is, Mr. Jordan or Santavius?
Chris.
Have you ever told Mr. Santavius Knight, this gentleman here, that he is her biological father?
All I said was that I was pregnant when I first found out I was pregnant. I did not say it was his child.
So are you saying he assumed he was the father?
No, because me and him was like we could talk about anything. So when I found out I was pregnant, I was like, look, I'm pregnant. He said, oh, okay. So I feel like he assumed that it was his, but it's not his. It's Chris, baby.
Your Honor, I object. I'm sorry.
You know what? Hold on. I'm about to object too, and I'm up here on this bench. I am not getting any truth out of you, Miss Heim. I am ready to hear from Mr. Santavius Knight myself. Jerome, please escort him into the courtroom.
Hold on, wait a minute.
What the steps? What your steps? You start rapping Meek Mill.
Thank you for joining us today. We are here discussing the paternity of Caitlyn.
Yes, ma'am.
And it has been brought to this court's attention that there are pictures of you with Caitlyn where you put in a caption that this is me and my baby Kate, where you are referring to this little girl as your daughter.
Yes.
Do you believe Caitlyn is your daughter?
Yes, that's my baby. She told me when she got pregnant, she's like, I'm pregnant. I'm like, what you telling me for? She's like, well, it's not Chris, because me and Chris been together a year and a half, and we ain't got pregnant. So when you touch me, I get pregnant.
No, he's lying. When I came back in town in April, I had sex, and then I found out I was pregnant in June. So how is that possible? I just called him and let him know that I was pregnant.
What did you say she said to you again?
She told me that it was my baby. She said, I'm pregnant. I said, what you telling me for? She said, cause it's yours. Telling me I love you when you get home. I let somebody else sign the birth certificate. I'm gonna fix it when you get home. Did it in third. I'm like, okay, say no more.
She let somebody.
I let somebody else sign the birth certificate, but I'm gonna fix it when I get home. Paternity fraud should be a felony crime. If you know that there's a possibility that there's another man that could be the father, it should be mandatory that you get a paternity test.
Sign the birth certificate, but she's gonna fix it when you get home.
Yeah.
No.
Miss High, what kind of game you running?
I ain't running no game.
Good game. Fact. He ain't lying.
So how often do you see Caitlin?
I see Caitlin when he ain't got her, or the people who at the school ain't got her. So she gonna sit here and just keep the post line instead of being real and just tell the truth. You know what I mean? It's still gonna come out anywhere it go. They finna come out anyway. They gonna tell you. The baby line. You gonna sit here, you gonna have to apologize. This man gonna be crying.
That's my thing. It's gonna come out anyways. You're in paternity court. Why are you lying?
Just holding on to it.
Still sitting here playing. Go and tell the truth. Keep it real.
What is the plan, though? I mean, I realize now that there is a web of deceit, but I'm still not too clear on what is the plan.
To show that Caitlin is the father. I mean, Christopher is the father of Caitlin, because I'm tired of this. I'm tired of my family saying he's the father.
But you sleeping with him.
Wow, sleeping with
So
him.
why did you tell Mr. Knight he was the biological
I did not.
father?
I said I was pregnant.
Where's he getting all these stories about making the birth certificate right and all of this?
I don't know. I called him when I found out I was pregnant and told him that I was pregnant.
Did you
So
tell him
after
you
that-
were going to make the birth?
PSEC got the comment of the day. He says, Tavius a ghetto nigga. I see why he tried to trap another guy. Women do it all the time. They do it all the time. If they know the hood guy, probably more likely to not be around or involved. Okay, let's get this guy. You know, he got his little raggedy suit on. He probably more likely to try to do the right thing.
Right.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Certificate, right?
I don't remember that, Your Honor.
But the conversation about the birth certificate would happen after Caitlin was born. So you're still having conversations with him after Caitlin's born?
Through my family members.
Through your family members?
That's a lie. They try to get me to come over a month ago. They try to get me to come smash that a month ago. Come on, stop lying.
You said she just tried to get you to come over a month ago?
To her house.
Told me that
Yes,
same
Mr. Jordan.
thing too, Your Honor.
How I
A
know what
month
to
ago.
say it.
What did she say?
Hey, I need somebody to come over here and stay with me because you know my new dude tripping and yada yada yada.
Exactly.
No, for real. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? That's irrelevant. You see what I'm saying? That's irrelevant to what the matter at hand. You feel what I'm saying? And we got one person manipulating two different guys on one child. Like it's not bothering. It's not gonna hurt you. It's not gonna hurt you. You feel me? It's gonna hurt her. You dig what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, I don't want her life to be messed up off the choices her mother made. You dig what I'm saying? Like I love that little girl. You know what I'm saying? If I could, you know what I'm saying, I would. But at the end of the day, if it is what it is, like I'm gonna let bro, you know what I'm saying, get his spot. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna take that from him. That's not my position to take that from nobody.
What's this smirk, Miss Hines? What is this smirk? You had the same smirk on your face. You burst out crying when the case first started. You just so tired of this and you just want it to be over and you just tired of going through this. What is the smirk? What's behind your eyes? What are you feeling? Why? Did you grow up with your dad?
Never fails. Go ahead.
Honestly, I believe the smirk is the shame. That's how she hides her shame. Because she knows she's guilty and she's smiling her way through it.
Never fails. Did you grow up with your dad? I ain't seen an episode yet where the answer is yes.
Yeah.
This is why we're doing this.
Yeah.
They have no idea what a functional relationship looks like. And this is the majority of our communities. 80% of us have no idea what a functional family unit looks like.
Yeah.
What do we expect?
I wasn't going to let you stand up here and have a smirk on your face like this was a game. Because you're the mother of a beautiful little girl and you know she deserves more. And now I know why you know she deserves more is because you also deserve more and you didn't get it. Can we say in this moment that it is the truth that you do not definitively know which one of these men is her biological father?
I don't know.
You don't know. It's okay, because when you tell her, they can't hold you hostage anymore.
It looked like the first time she's told the truth in the last 6 years.
I don't know.
Look how hard it is for this woman. So many walls, so much pride built up to try to mask the shame.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible way to live, and so many of our Black women are living like that until they're bitter old middle-aged women, running men away, running everything good away. Narcissists, lying through their teeth just to get their way through life.
Man, you're in your own prison. And that's why you're just spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and lying and telling this person one thing and this person one thing. And your family members, you just keep calling them messy and they looking at you like you messy and everything's a mess. It can't hold you hostage if you set yourself free. So now you set it. Look at me. It didn't kill you. You still standing? I don't know. That's why we're here. Jerome, the envelope, please.
She needs some serious therapy.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows.
Place your bets in the comments.
So
who
you've got your own
who y'all
business,
think the daddy
and
is?
you're doing everything you
Darcy
can
and
to
the
promote
light
it.
skin.
But marketing doesn't always have to be so.
Who y'all think the daddy
there.
is?
In the case of Jordan versus Heim, pertaining to whether Mr. Jordan or Mr. Knight is the father of the child, Caitlin Jordan. It has been determined by this court. The biological.
Smitty said blue suit. P-Sack said Santavius. Daddy just off swag. I'm assuming, yeah, that's blue suit too. All right, let's see.
Father is Mr. Jordan.
Who saw that coming?
Mr. Jordan, you are Caitlin's biological father. Mr. Knight, I know you really thought Caitlin was your biological child. How are you feeling in this moment?
At the end of the day, in life, you can't, when it come out, the truth come out. So, I ain't really too mad about it, but if I'm still alive, they're my partner right there. They're my friend.
Ms. Heim, these two young men have loved your child, have treated her like she was theirs, developed bonds, but at some point we had to get to the truth. You have been spinning. You've got to be tired. I want you to talk to Dr. Jeff. I want you to talk about how to move forward and figure out how to start fresh. Because what you did say, as you spoke so beautifully about your daughter, when you said it hurt me, and I knew you felt that when she said, does daddy not love me anymore? And you said that hurt me. Is because you feel what she feels. You're her mother.
Look at that pain.
Whatever pain she
That's
feels,
real right
you want
there.
to take from her. But you also have to stop causing. And you do that by not being mature and healthy as it relates to the relationship with her father. So I want you to start learning how to do that and take good care of her. She is one gorgeous young girl. All right? I wish you all the very best. Court is adjourned.
Listen, I ain't gonna keep y'all all night. We're gonna dive more into these because it goes on forever. I mean, there's so many episodes, and it's like it's crazy. It's crazy. And you can see the trauma in that woman. So it hurts me, man. As a Black man.
And King Smitty said pride in what? Pride in knowing who her baby daddy is. She wanted to keep that pride. I know who her baby daddy is. That's why she kept lying. Okay, I only slept with him once. I know it's his. I know it's his. I know it's his. Thank God she was right. But at the end of the day, she didn't know.
She didn't know. Pride in the fact that she did not have the humility to face her flaws. Mm-hmm. That's the pride that tends to really mess people up, man. Is the inability to face my flaws and just be real, like, yo, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's rare that you're seeing people humble enough to do that. Look like everybody's mind blown. Plot twist. Shaylette said I had to pour a drink on this. Gabriella said I hope the baby isn't listening to this because she looks a little grown. It's sad. It's sad, and I hate seeing this stuff in our community. So we're gonna touch on it. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna address it because I think out of sight, out of mind for a lot of people allows them to not understand these perspectives. And again, especially to my white friends, we're gonna talk about the Black community.
Yeah.
Because we're not marrying at the same rates, and we're going through a lot more of these types of traumas than the white communities are as a whole. And
God wants to
I'm
heal
not
our
okay with it.
community. It's time to heal. It's time to heal. And when it comes to our children and them going through situations like that where they're unsure who their dad is, or dad didn't want to show up no more, the best thing you can do is talk to them. Talk to them. Let them tell you how they feel and talk to them about it. Don't let them bury it. You don't bury it. Don't make it be one of those topics, no, we just gonna stay away from because it's too painful. Talk to your kids about these situations.
That reminds me of the episode we should have watched, but we're gonna
That's
do
what
this
I was
again.
thinking about.
Yeah, we're gonna do this again. But I appreciate everybody getting on here, and spending all this time with us, man. Especially on a Monday night, y'all real for that. Hopefully, we can catch y'all on the weekend sometime where we can really kick it and go into some stuff. I'm gonna leave y'all with this. If anybody got no more comments, questions, Smitty says slavery didn't break the two-parent household. It's time to let go our golden calves. Talk about it. You trying to piss some people off? Slavery could not have broken the two-parent household because we were 80% married after slavery. And during the Reconstruction era, we were prospering. That was the golden age of Black business in the 1920s.
Yeah.
I mean, we ate post-slavery. So yeah, miss me with those excuses. Honestly, it was the women's rights movement.
We co-signed.
That's where we started seeing the decreases in our numbers. And I'm not saying that's the only thing. We also got to look at mass incarceration, the effect that the welfare system had on it. It's multifaceted.
Yeah.
But it's not slavery. Yeah. It's not slavery. Yeah. If anything, we did value family more after slavery, because we knew we couldn't make it on this land that hates us without a family unit at home. We knew that.
We knew our men had it bad, and we had to be there for them and build them in their homes.
Now all of a sudden, it's we those values are gone, and we're so far removed from those traumas that we got to rebuild the mindsets. Man.
Yeah, just retraining our minds.
Yep. Great comments, everybody. And on that note, man, I'm gonna send y'all out with this one and bid y'all a farewell. I'm gonna say the prayer after this, but thank everybody.
I don't understand for the life of me. I don't understand for the life of me why we are telling women that their best and greatest superpower, creating another human from their own body, is less important than working as an associate law clerk. Working 2,100 billable hours, checking footnotes, is somehow more important than raising the next generation of human beings that you made with your own body and then bringing them up. Now, some people may choose that. Fine, again, for the 1,000th time, that's fine. Do what you want. It's a free country. But if you're going to indoctrinate women to believe that happiness comes from working as an accountant, but not from spending more time with your children, there's not a single person who on their deathbed said, I wish I had done one more doc review. Not one.
Point blank, period. And so to the women out here who are mothers, we value you regardless of how you're doing it, whether it's on your own or with the help of a man. I mean, this is what you're literally created to do, and we can't procreate without you. So to the world that's telling you that that's not valuable, I'm sorry. And help us retrain society to see the reality in that that's not the case.
Amen.
And with that said, Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come together again, to fellowship with one another. I thank you for everybody that joined us. We pray that every seed that you send out will find solid ground and be planted deep within our hearts. We pray that you would transform our minds, Lord, to reshape our thinking back in alignment with you, your plans, and your will for your kingdom on earth. We pray that you will continue to reinforce positive ideals that will allow us to live the reality of heaven on earth as you intended. In Jesus' name, we thank you, we praise you, and we ask that every person who joined us will have a lovely rest of their week and marinate on these ideas, share them, conversate with y'all communities, man. And let's keep the topic going and change the narrative out here. All right. I love y'all. Thank you, everybody that joined, man. And I really appreciate y'all. Y'all made my night, real talk. God bless you too, Smitty. Appreciate it, man.